Hello friends, welcome to this vocabulary learning session by Promac. I am Narsi Reddy and in today's session we will learn some words beginning with letter N in English alphabet. We will start our session with the word nomadic. So the word nomadic comes from a word called nomad. What is a nomad? We all have some fixed place of living. So we live in a certain place. Most of our life we spend there. We have a house, we have a profession. But there are some people, they keep on wandering from place to place. There is no fixed place of life or existence for them. So these people are called gypsies or nomads. What is a gypsy? A gypsy is also a wanderer. So a nomad is a person who is a wanderer, a person who does not have a fixed place of living, or basically nowadays you can also use it in the meaning of an aimless person, a person who is not very focused. I live a nomadic existence. So nomad is a constant traveler or a person who does not have any fixed place of existence. The next word that we will take up is a word called nomenclature. The next word we will take up is nomenclature. The word nomenclature comes from a root word called nim or nom. The root word NYM nim or NOM nom means name. So what is nomenclature? Nomenclature is the process of naming things or the system of naming things. There is a system or methodology of naming anything. When we look at any scientific name of any plant or animal based organism, the scientific names have three parts. The first term is always genus, second term is species, third term is subspecies. So this process or method of naming things is what is called nomenclature. Here we learned that the root word NOM nom or NYM nim means name. From this root word called NOM nom or NYM nim, we can learn many words: synonym, antonym, acronym, pseudonym, misnomer, anonymous, nominal. All these words come from a root word called nom or nim. A synonym. Synonym is a word that has a similar meaning to the given word. Antonym. Antonym is a word that has opposite meaning to the given word. Acronym. An acronym is an abbreviation. GRE is an acronym of Graduate Record Examination. SAT is an acronym of Scholastic Aptitude Test. Acronym is an abbreviation. Pseudonym. Some people, their original name may be something, but they are better known by some other name. So the false name, the nickname, or the name by which a person is better known is what is called a pseudonym, an assumed name, a nickname, or a false name. Misnomer. What is misnomer? there are some people or places, the qualities of that person and the name are exact opposite. Then we say this name is very, very, very inappropriate for this person, or this name is very wrong for this person. Then we say it's a misnomer. Misnomer is an inappropriate name, an unsuitable name, a name which is such that the qualities and the name are exact opposites. Then we call it as misnomer. Anonymous. What is anonymous? Sometimes somebody will write a letter to you, but they do not sign the letter or they do not mention the name. Somebody makes a phone call without revealing their identity. We call that as an anonymous phone call or anonymous letter. Anonymous is nameless without revealing the name or identity is called anonymous. Another word is nominal. What is nominal? So nominal, titular or figurehead. Nominal, titular or figurehead. What is nominal, titular or figurehead? There are some positions, there are some jobs, or there are some posts. Suppose today we have Queen of England. According to the Constitution of England, Queen of England is the ruler of England. Queen of England is the supreme commander of all armed forces of England. But in reality, does the Queen have many powers? Most of the actual executive powers rest with the Prime Minister. But Queen is a post that is the supreme head in title, but in reality doesn't have many powers. So what is nominal? Only in name. What is titular? Only in title. What is figurehead? Only in figure. So nominal, titular or figurehead is any post or position that has lot of powers or authorities in name but doesn't have any real power. Any post or position that has lot of powers or authorities in name but doesn't have any real power is what is called nominal. So let us go to next word, nonchalant. What is nonchalant? Nonchalant, unruffled, nonchalant, unruffled, imperturbable. So the words nonchalant, unruffled or imperturbable are used to describe a person. Many of us get overexcited about everything. When something good happens, we jump with joy and we celebrate. When something bad happens, we cry a lot and become depressed. But there are some people, they are very balanced. They are very, very, very emotionally balanced. They maintain that stability always. They do not jump with joy when something good happens. They don't cry when something bad happens. We call that person as nonchalant, unruffled or imperturbable. So nonchalant, unruffled or imperturbable is a person who does not get disturbed or troubled by anything that happens, a person who does not let emotions or feelings influence his behavior. When I told the guy that police are coming to arrest him, he was very nonchalant. So what? When I told the person that his business is facing tremendous problems, he said, so what? Nonchalant, unruffled, imperturbable. You don't get disturbed or you don't get troubled by anything that happens. You maintain that emotional balance or balance of feelings. The next word is nondescript. So nondescript, I think you could understand just by looking at this. So nondescript comes from non, which is negative. Description. So what is nondescript? That is a very nondescript building. He is a very nondescript person. There are some people who are very ordinary. Now, if somebody, I ask you, hey, how does Robert look? Robert is very fair in color. Robert is very dark in color. Robert is very fat. Robert is very thin. Robert is very tall, very short. If there is some clear-cut feature, I can describe. But Robert looks very ordinary. Is he fat? No, he is not fat. Is he thin? No, he is not thin. Is he fair? No. Is he dark? No. So there are some people who are so ordinary, so commonplace, places, people, items, anything, that it's very, very, very difficult to describe. Even to describe, you do not get words. They are so ordinary, then we call it as nondescript. So nondescript is very, very, very ordinary, difficult to describe. The next word is nonplussed. Sometimes when something happens, you are shocked, you are puzzled, you are surprised, something like that. So I was nonplussed when I heard about it. So nonplussed is shocked or surprised. It's a combination of shock, surprise, confusion, puzzlement. Then we say I was nonplussed, shocked or surprised. The next word is nostalgia. In many dictionaries, you may see the word nostalgia as homesickness. The word nostalgia is given as homesickness, but more than homesickness, nostalgia is basically a longing for the past. What do you mean by longing for the past? Most of us, when we think about past, we only remember the positive things from the past. We never remember negative things from the past. So always we dream, what a beautiful time my past was. I wish I can go back to that time. What a beautiful time my childhood was. What a beautiful time the time I spent in that village was. So you feel very nostalgic about your school days. You feel very nostalgic about your college days. You feel very nostalgic about your old village. So nostalgia is a longing for the past, a feeling that past was very beautiful. I wish I can go back to the past again. That's what is nostalgia. Sometimes, so I won't say opposite of nostalgia. What is nostalgia? Feeling that past was very beautiful. There is another feeling which is deja vu. What is deja vu? Deja vu is you are experiencing something for the first time, but somehow you have a feeling that you have already experienced it. You have already seen it. You already know what is going to happen. So deja vu is a feeling of familiarity. Something you are observing or feeling or experiencing for the first time, but somehow you have a feeling that you have already experienced it or you have already felt it. Next word we will take up is a word called nostrum. Nostrum is a term which is related to medicine. See, we all have some problems. Then we go to a doctor. Doctors are also of two types. There are doctors who are qualified to be called doctors. They have got the educational qualifications and abilities to call themselves a doctor. But there are some people who are fake. They do not have a medical qualification, but they claim to cure illnesses. They claim to treat patients. So this kind of a person is called a quack. What is a quack? A quack is a bogus practitioner. A person who is not a doctor but claims to be a doctor. When we go to a doctor, so a quack is a bogus practitioner, a bogus doctor. When I go to a doctor, the doctor gives me some treatment. So any medicine or any surgery or any methodology with which I can get cured. So that's called a remedy. What is remedy? Remedy is a treatment or some mechanism which is trying to cure an illness. But if I go to a bogus doctor, sometimes they give me unscientific treatments or unscientific medicines. So that's what is called a nostrum. Nostrum is an unscientific medicine or a bogus remedy, or a bogus medicine is what is called nostrum. Nostrum is an unscientific medicine, bogus remedy or bogus medicine. The next word we will take up is a word called noxious. The word noxious is given in some dictionaries as poisonous, but basically noxious means something harmful, something negative. This plant is releasing some noxious substance. This factory or this chemical is releasing some noxious gases. Noxious, deleterious, pernicious, perilous, hazardous, injurious, so noxious, deleterious, pernicious, perilous, hazardous, injurious, all these words mean harmful, negative, or anything that is damaging or anything that is dangerous. Opposite of all these words, which is harmful or dangerous, is something that is beneficial or favorable. In the meaning of something beneficial or favorable, we can take a word called salutary. Salutary is something that is beneficial or favorable. The word salutary sounds very, very, very similar to a word called salutation. What is salutation? When we are addressing a person, we use certain titles like Mr., Miss, Doctor, Professor, Sri, Srimati. These are all what are called salutation. Salutation is the way you address a person at the beginning of a letter or a speech. Many people get confused with one more word called salubrious. Salubrious basically means very, very healthy. The climate at this place is very salubrious. So salubrious is very, very, very healthy. So salutary, salutation, salubrious, sounding somewhat closely similar. So I have explained. Salubrious, I told you, is very, very healthy. Opposite of salubrious is miasma. Miasma is unhealthy or unhygienic atmosphere, or unhealthy or unhygienic climate is what is called miasma. The next word we will take up is a word called nuance. What is nuance? See, there are variety of things in this world. Certain things have a clear difference and certain things have a very, very, very minute, indirect or shade of a difference. You put two pieces of fabric in front of me or two garments in front of me and you ask me, hey Narsi, can you tell me which one of this is silk and which one is cotton? Even an ordinary person who knows nothing about textiles, I can identify which is silk and which is cotton. But you put two fabrics in front of me and say, hey Narsi, both are silk. Can you tell me which is tussar silk and which is some other silk? I do not have that much expertise to understand the difference between a tussar silk and a mulberry silk. because the difference between both of them is very minute and I do not understand the nuances of textiles. You play two songs and you ask me, hey Narsi, can you tell me which of this is classical music and which of this is pop music? I can understand, even if I do not have much knowledge of music, which is classical music and which is pop music. But you play two songs of classical music and ask me to find the difference between the two songs. I do not have that much knowledge to understand the nuances of music. What is a nuance? Nuance is a very, very fine distinction. A shade of difference is what is called nuances. This minute or very, very, very fine difference is also what is called subtle. The difference between these two things is very, very subtle. There is a subtle difference between these two things. So subtle is also very, very minute difference. Another word that we will take up is a word called nubile. So nubile is basically used to describe a young girl who is of marriageable age. So you generally call someone as a nubile nymphette. What is a nymphette? What is a nymph? A nymph is a young girl. So when we call somebody as nubile, nubile is someone who is of marriageable age or suitable of marriageable age is what is called nubile. Nubile is, to my knowledge, generally used to describe a girl. I don't think it can be used to describe a boy or a man. Next word we will take up is a word called nugatory. So nugatory trivial, trifle, venial or inconsequential. Nugatory, trivial, trifle, venial or inconsequential. All these words basically mean very, very unimportant or insignificant. Nugatory, trivial, trifle, venial or inconsequential, all these words basically mean very, very unimportant or inconsequential. Let's go to one more word. The next word we will take up is a word called numismatics. What is numismatist? See, there are different people have different hobbies. There are some people who have the hobby of collecting postal stamps. There are some people who have the hobby of collecting, coins. A person who is engaged in the hobby of collecting coins is called numismatist. Numismatist is a person who collects coins. A person who is in the hobby of collecting postage stamps is called philatelist. A philatelist is a person who collects postal stamps. Numismatist is a person who collects coins. Next word we will take up is a word called nuptial. So nuptial is basically anything related to wedding. The actual process of getting married to somebody is what is called nuptial. You all might have heard of something called prenuptial agreement. That is when you are getting married to somebody. Before marriage, in many couples, they enter into an agreement. If by chance we get divorced, so and so should happen, like that. So nuptial is the process of getting married, or the actual activity of getting married is called nuptial. So friends, we have learnt some words starting with the letter N. I hope you have understood Please write to us with your feedback at our email ID promaccoaching@gmail.com. Kindly also visit our website www.promaccoaching.com or www.promacprep.com. Thank you very much. See you again.